All right, we are at Yavapai College, the C-Tech building, which is on the north side of Prescott as you're going out off of Ruger Road. And this particular building is for technical. So it's technical information, technical classes that they take here. And the thing we're zeroing in on today is aeronautics. And with us, we have Spencer. Tell me a little about your background. I know from reading a little bit about you, actually originally went to Yavapai College, am I correct?
I've lived in Chino Valley my whole life. I did dual enrollment classes while I was in high school, through YC and everything else. Even C-Tech, I've been bleeding C-Tech since elementary school. I had a friend of mine whose dad was in automotive, so we'd come here as kids and mess around. And so I've been here for a long time.
So you're part of it.
Yeah, C-Tech has a particular place in my heart above all the other campuses, no offense. But yeah, C-Tech, I love it here. Got my AAS in Aerospace Science and the UAS or drone concentration. So we deal with small civilian kind of UAS work.
So if you're a student, are you learning about drones and how to operate them, or?
Yeah, it depends. You learn how to fly them. They kind of fly themselves a little bit, which is nice. But the big thing we learn about is the data collection, because you're in the data collection industry. So we learn about all the different applications, different softwares, how to fly, collect, and then process data. Because half the industry is freelancers doing this kind of work. Our program kind of pushes you towards the, self-employed kind of thing. We've had people get hired though for companies, but that's kind of what our UAS portion or drone portion.
So that's what's more common. Is people contracting singular, small companies. The company has in 2 or 3 people basically running the show.
Yes, we have 2 classes kind of geared towards that, the entrepreneurship at the end.
Oh, okay.
We've had, including me, we've had a few students start their own thing.
Are you still doing any drone work on the side yourself?
Yes, I do drone work on the side. I've had it since 2017. Yes, Prescott Drone Solutions.
Yeah, there you go.
If you ever need any work. This is UAS, I can start the UAS, this is the lab. But we have a separate classroom where we can do this kind of stuff. This is the build lab, we come here to build. We start with we do both the fixed wing or regular planes and the multi-rotors as you see here. We have a handful up there. We gotta make it, very introductory. So we start out with just foam board. You can see the brown ones right there, that is foam board for the planes, just to teach you the basic plane you can fly. Probably crashed a few times, unfortunately, but that's how you learn. This is the first build, which is some basic electronics.
So who cut all this out?
There's a company that's pretty popular on YouTube, actually, called Flight Test, and they have like these pre-lasered cut foam board, but it's great for if you're brand new to it. Then we work our way up. This semester, you can see these second ones. These are going to be about 6-foot wingspans. And then we're gonna add an autopilot system, so it flies on its own, goes, collects data, you put multiple cameras in it to take photos, below or on top. This is a kind of like basic electronics, kind of a little autopilot system.
Okay.
You program it and then you throw it, it'll do its own flight, you set a waypoint mission, flight plan, whatever, and it'll just fly on its own. You can manually fly it with a remote, but we try to where it's commercial type of work where it's just flying on its own. Actually, we do some work with our manufacturing program. This one right here, we've been working with them. They've been manufacturing it.
So you have the drones, you're working with a different department, and they're assigned to make one of these, basically.
Yeah, they are.
Are they drawing them up, or are they using existing plans? Or
so as part of, we do a lot of the cool thing is we cross with a lot of other programs in the college, like electronics, manufacturing, art. We have them do the film editing as one of the class. This is manufacturing's drone, so we kind of been crossing a little bit with that. One of our classes you can take is computer-aided drawing to design parts.
When you're getting cameras and things like that, what part of the programs that's supporting all that? There are programs out there that a student will come in, but a lot of times they're funding their own stuff.
We try to do it to where students can come in and we'll provide them materials to build with.
That's excellent.
But of course they have the option to buy it too, if they want to keep it.
But they can pay their tuition, come to a class, and you're providing this stuff. Is this class going to take them through enough time, or is there like a second class, a 201 instead of a 101?
This is kind of a standalone. There's no prereqs. It's we have 2 classes, one where you're building the fixed wing like this. There's a fixed wing systems class, and then there's what we call multi-rotor, because there's multiple rotors, like the quadcopter over there. And even a little helicopter, we're getting a little to that too, a helirotor kind of stuff. So there's 2 separate classes.
I think it's cool because this is a specialty that's expanding in all different kind of directions for different uses.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a ton of applications in many industries.
Right, because everybody's finding new uses for it. So the interest could be pretty high from students, but it's definitely high once you can get out there and try to get some work. So going back to the aeronautics program then, I know there's like specialties within each for flying in this. What are the different ones or the divisions in the department?
So yeah, we got the overall associate's degree is Associate of Applied Science.
Okay.
In aerospace science, and then there's 3 concentrations below that. It entails a little bit of everything. So you're doing UAS classes, you're doing some ground school for your fixed wing stuff like simulation classes, your gen eds, everything else, air traffic control classes. It's a good mixture of everything else. Yeah, the general aviation concentration is a concentration of the aerospace science degree. So we have the aerospace science degree, and then there's concentrations like with an emphasis on, I guess you can call it that.
Okay.
It's like UAS, or you're just doing the fixed wing flying. And then there is another concentration where it's just a general aviation.
What can a student expect going through the classes of how many hours that they can at least have a shot at achieving whatever that license is? What can they usually get, or what's typical?
So you get your instrument rating, then you go into commercial single engine.
Instrument rating means what?
Where you fly, where technically you can fly under what we call under the hood, to where you can't see outside your window, and you're just using your instruments on your panels. And then you go into like commercial single engine, commercial multi-engine, and commercial means to make money. Like you can ferry planes, take people around, work for a small charter or something. Then after that, you work into your what's called your certified flight instructor license or ratings. You get taught to go out and teach other people to become pilots. You have to have a private first. Then it goes private, which you get on your own, and then instrument, your commercial single license, your commercial multi. Then you go to your certified flight instructor, so you're instructed to teach other people to fly for the first time. And then your certified flight instructor instrument, so you teach other people how to fly with just their instruments. But yeah, you get a handful of ratings out of this program.
Wow.
The fixed wing, and then the way you pass your class is by passing the FAA, your exam, I guess, is where a flight examiner comes out and watches you fly, see how you do.
So all this is a launching point for all of that.
Society would really recognize the old white quadcopter, just a DJI Phantom 4. Don't build these, just buy them off the shelf. They're pretty good at flying themselves. The big thing is like the data collection, at least with these aircrafts. There's another one. This one's really meant for like, photography, cinematography, videography, just another one.
What kind of weight can those things carry?
They can hold quite a few pounds. Some introductory like little toys if you're like brand new, so you can like crash it.
Right.
Do a course just to learn your hand-eye coordination.
Sure.
We also deal with the racing drones. We got a few FPV racing drones that we deal with as well, part of the building side of things. This is a copy of, I believe it's called the Puma in the military. It's kind of the same thing, some of the electronics that go inside of it. Here's the wings to the fuselage I was showing you guys in there. So that's the second build they'll be finishing by the end of the semester, flying on its own with some 3D printed parts right there.
So when you have something that's lightweight like this and you're flying it, how is it affected by the wind?
Oh yeah, no, most definitely we put like airspeed sensors on it. So they can snap the wings, but you probably won't be flying in that in the first place.
So you're gonna go out there on a calm day.
But yeah, it's part of the pre-fly. There's some days where we won't fly at all if it's too windy or any other inclement weather. Like I said, as long as it collects the data or does the job we want, we really don't care what it looks like or...
So explain that to people with a picture. Okay, you've got some controls, you're making it go left and right, up and down, whatever, but collecting data?
We got 3D modeling, getting contour lines for like surveyors or engineers, agriculture, vegetation studies, thermal work, doing like solar panel inspections, roofing inspections, search and rescue is a big one and up and coming, dropping some sort of payload, crop dusting.
Those are all big areas, but you mentioned solar panels.
Like a school that has solar panels, and we go out, typically if it's like there's a short and it's just one little panels holding all the heat, not letting it flow. Yeah, it'll be sticking out like a sore thumb kind of thing.
But you can slow those things down enough to be able to capture that?
Oh yeah, these will, like I said, they kind of float themselves. You let off the sticks, they'll just hover, and you don't have to touch any sticks. They'll kind of hover and spot, fixed wing, obviously it's a little different, it has to constantly move.
Right, which gives you all kinds of applications.
Oh, a ton, that barely scratches.
As many as you can think of.
Exactly, that barely scratches the surface.
So what we're showing now is the flight simulator room. When in the classroom time in somebody's studying do they first get on one of these? Is it one of the early classes?
Yeah, it's earlier on. This is simulating what it'd be like and everything else, going through pre-flight checklists. It simulates Prescott's airport right now. Here should be Mingus Mountain.
Okay. Because eventually the theory is they're supposed to be getting in a plane and going up at Prescott Airport.
Yeah, it does actually, take off and
kind of builds
fly.
the muscle a little bit.
Yes, and then like I said, like kind of the instrument part of it. You can like looking off of this.
That's great.
Has all the sticks, of course. You can move, fuel mixture, kind of like the throttle and whatnot. Elevator, just like a lot of the same components you're gonna see in a regular aircraft.
So we are in the 3D printing lab, which is an extension of the aeronautical department, and they're using some of the things in the 3D printing lab. So what do you have to show us here?
So yeah, this is we started out with UAS, just getting a few of these 3D printers. It's quickly becoming very acquainted with aviation and many industries outside of aviation for prototyping and end-use products. Just like, for example, this is a very little like GPS cover that goes on top of this plane.
A lot of people hear about 3D printing, but they don't really understand the process.
So this extrudes hot plastic essentially in very thin little layers one at a time and kind of builds up from there. So yeah, if you need a part, you can either design it yourself or you can go on the internet. There is millions of different 3D files that you can find online for free or for a small price. So it's a 3D file we take into it's called a slicer software, give it print settings, everything else kind of along those lines, just real basic terms, and then I'll export into the proper code. And then you take that file, that thumb drive, you can plug it into one of these printers. So it has a little tiny point at the end, has a very itty bitty hole. So this extrudes hot plastic. The plastic gets shoved into here. A spool of hot plastic gets shoved into here, has this little gear that grabs it and it's constantly spinning to extrude it out, and then a little layer by layer until you get a pretty decent sized three-dimensional file.
So how long does that take?
These small parts are probably gonna take between an hour and two. This is just basic, what we call PLA. That's the most basic, go-to, easiest, intro, cheapest plastic. Just all sorts of different plastics, like carbon fiber induced, like some that are conductive, some that are like metal. Print out some of my own like outside modifications. If you have a sensor that can't be put on that drone specifically, you can make a modified sensor holder.
Well, that's how I visualize
you can
3D printers.
Yeah, and you can print out like 20 different types of filaments, whether it's like PLA, carbon fiber, a bunch of different ones.
What would you be printing on here? Name something specific.
Anything. I've been tinkering with it quite a bit. Printing out an airplane, like learning how to print out an airfoil that's light enough but still strong enough, like a drone, or like a 6-foot wingspan.
Oh, okay.
Kind of thing. I've been working on that because I want students and eventually to learn all that. And print out some more for the program, that's the other thing. You print on demand your own drones. So this was just kind of like a little experiment with a vertical stabilizer for a small fixed wing plane, and everything else you can see on the inside is kind of the infill.
Super lightweight.
Yeah, so it's like find that mixture of being light and also having the integrity.
It still has a little bit of give though.
Testing out the infills, like you can see it still bends, so
Yeah.
the infill pattern, it wasn't correct here. So it's like, oh shoot, if you turn too hard.
Yep.
I've seen some gnarly videos. Finally, after 57 prints, I think we finally got a good one that's light, strong.
That's a lot of prints.
Yeah, it's hard. It's very thin-walled prints, probably one of the hardest things to do in 3D printing. So yeah, that's 3D printed. It's just more experimental. And then here's the wing. So it's like more of a glider type aircraft. So yeah, part of the drone degree or US portion, we have a class where we teach the license you have to get, which isn't too hard. It's fairly simple. But we teach all that, the airspace, the operations, safety. We go over in several classes.
You just can't send a drone up.
Especially not around here. Oh god. Oh no.
Right.
So yeah, we teach the laws and the regulations behind it. That's the other thing you gotta know.
And plus, you have to be insured to fly these things too, am I correct?
Yeah. Typically, if you're running business, you got business insurance. The SLA, this is like a goopy, sticky mess in here. It's like Gorilla Glue. It's very sticky. How it works, it's like hardens each layer.
Yeah.
It prints upside down, so it kind of goes up like this. Then you got to put in alcohol, kind of scrub off the extra, I guess, residue. It's still very sticky after it's done.
Right.
Cure it.
Oh, so you put it in there.
Rotates.
Okay, it dries it.
Yeah, and you got to do that several times. But the end product is much more end use, in my opinion.
Is it stronger?
This is much tougher. This is tough. It has many different types. Like there's surgeon. We are starting to print out like test swabs for COVID.
Oh, really?
and like it has like a special certified resin, like surgical resin.
Okay.
So there's tough, surgical, there's flexible, there's what we call high temp, you can take a higher temp. This SLA stuff, there's quite a few, but the tough is nice, and so is the high temp. I think that's one I use the most, tough and high temp. So I get like a little motor, because they heat up pretty quick, electrical motor. It'll melt PLA, but with high temp SLA, it won't melt.
What am I looking at here? This is a 3D printing also?
So yeah, this is both UAS drone work.
Does the drone work map it for you?
Yes.
Okay.
So the drone work maps it. A big thing is rendering three-dimensional models, or like say contour lines, water runoff. It's for surveying, engineering.
So that you can get some elevations like you have here?
Yeah, I can get like elevations. So what we did, this is the Prescott main campus. This is
Oh yeah.
the Performing Arts Center.
Yeah.
I believe this is the library, the other
sure.
buildings. We got a handful of instructors that teach, the components and everything else. I teach just UAS or the drone stuff full time. That's my main thing.
That's your main thing.
Yeah, so we got other teachers teach the ATC or air traffic control side of things. So we have quite a few out
One
there.
thing I think if you could clarify for a lot of people who've never flown anything, the sky has roads and highways too, and you need to follow those highways just like somebody that's in a car. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, essentially. It's kind of the same thing. You gotta understand, I guess, different
You
highways.
can't just go flying wherever you want to and have fun whoopee.
Yeah, so it goes for drones. There's different airspaces we can't fly in.
Okay, we are in the air traffic controller room. Go ahead, Spencer.
Oh yeah, this is part of general aviation concentration. This is the air traffic control room. You can see it's kind of dimmed to blue, kind of simulate in real life. You can put up like Phoenix Sky Harbor and it'll kind of like simulate planes coming in and out the runway. And these other computers you see to the side aren't just general computers for like classroom work. This also simulates people in the tower looking at different instruments and other data. It simulates the full package of what's going on. You typically see in an air traffic tower.
Well, we had a nice tour of the aeronautics department at Yavapai College.
The really nice thing is the community college, so it's much cheaper than most other places. I think it's a great opportunity. I think it's a lot of stuff we do here is both challenging, useful, and fun. So I'd really hopefully see more people come in this program.
I want to thank Yavapai College and Spencer Coffin for your neck of the woods and Bick Raven Productions, and we thank you.
Yep, thank you.